Back with us now, National Border Patrol Council President Brandon Judd. Brandon, it's great to have you on. What was your reaction when you heard that the Vice President Kamala Harris laughed off her decision to not personally visit the southern border? This happened in an interview with NBC News. What was your reaction?
I was extremely upset, as were all of my officers. When you have a vice president that is trying to deflect and distract the American public, to try to make them believe that there is no problem on the southwest border, a problem that she and President Biden created, that's extremely upsetting, because then the problem's not going to get fixed. And for her to say she hasn't visited Europe, and to do it so flippantly, was clearly showing that she does not care about what the American public is facing right now due to the crisis that is our southwest border.
Okay, let's listen to the vice president. Watch this.
At some point, we are going to the border, and I haven't been to Europe. And I don't understand the point that you're making. I'm not discounting the importance of the border.
I came here to be here on the ground to speak with the leader of this nation around what we can do in a way that is significant, is tangible, and has real results. And I will continue to be focused on that kind of work as opposed to grand gestures.
Okay, we've had you on. The problems at the border are serious. Toddlers dropped over border walls. Babies who have yet been able to walk, they can't walk, abandoned in the desert by human smugglers. 160 countries, migrants from those countries caught trying to cross the border from Yemen, the Middle East, Iran, Iraq. So this isn't exactly like taking a trip to Europe, right?
No, and it's not a grand gesture to come to the border. The reason she's not going to the border, Senator Cruz pointed out that if she goes to the border, the cameras are going to come, and then the American public, the mainstream media, is going to be forced to cover this instead of just Fox News and Fox Business. But if she goes to the border, what's also going to be expected is that she fixes the problem. And she can't do that right now because the political will does not exist to do what is necessary, what the Trump administration did to drop illegal immigration to 45-year lows. And the people that are benefiting because of her inaction are the criminal cartels. The people that are suffering are the migrants that are putting themselves in the hands of these criminal cartels. And it appears that she just doesn't care about those people.
Yeah, thousands of those illegal immigrants are getting literally killed. They're getting killed in this dangerous 2,300-mile trek. Major crime at the border swamping U.S. border towns. Let's watch again the Uvalde, Texas Mayor Don McLaughlin. Watch.
Here lately, they've been getting out and bailing out by our local elementary schools. So we've had to put the local elementary schools on lockdown, and we had to bring more law enforcement in to search for these individuals. 90% of these cars that we're catching now, we're finding loaded firearms in them.
Loaded firearms in them. Human smugglers, drug traffickers, more people dying from opioid deaths in this country, certainly in the West Coast, than from COVID-19. Your reaction to what the mayor just said?
What's going on our border is a complete and total disaster. And what we have to understand is Uvalde is not right on the border. Uvalde is a good 60, 70 miles into the United States. Just a couple weeks ago, in a town next to my hometown that is 50 miles off the border, there were illegal aliens in a high school that were trying to steal a high schooler's car while that individual was getting into his car. This is a dangerous situation, and the Biden administration isn't taking it as serious as what they need to.
She's saying she's in Central America to address root causes. She's asking U.S. corporations to set up shop in Central America. The point has been made that these corrupt governments have many people in those governments pocket the money, the aid money. What do you say?
Well, that's going to be the problem. If we throw money at this problem in countries that are already corrupt, it's just going to go into the hands of the rich people. It's not going to go into the hands of the migrants that are trying to come to the United States, those that can't make a living in Guatemala, El Salvador, Honduras. That's not the way to solve the problem. The way to solve the problem is to look at what our policies are here in the United States. Address those, fix the problem here.